Hello, everyone, and happy Chinese New Year. Welcome back to the Business Continuity Digitalization webinar. I'm Isa, and I'll be your host for today. It's been a while. Hope everyone is doing great. Thank you to those who are here early. Do say hello or good morning in the live chat if you are here. This will be our first webinar in 2021, and we have exciting webinars planned for the year. So if you would like to be in the loop and receive an exclusive HR starter kit, don't forget to check in via the QR code or link in the description box and live chat. A quick introduction to DGX before we begin. DGX is Digi's venture builder arm. Our focus is to help Malaysian companies of all sizes solve problems by digitalizing their operations through our digital solutions, AltHR, Omni Hotline, and iFleet. Today's webinar is run together with Mednefits, an employee medical benefits platform that makes it easier for businesses to take care of their employees. Today, we have a very special guest, the Chief Happiness Officer of Mednefits, Hadiyanto Wibawa. Hadi co-founded Mednefits with two of his childhood best friends when they had the idea to make employee healthcare more accessible for employers and to make it easier for employers to look after the wellness of their employees. Today, he'll be sharing some of the insights he's had in the benefits space and share with us recommendations on what employers should prioritize. Without further ado, let's bring Hadi onto the screen. Hi, and welcome, Hadi.
Hi, Isa. Thank you. Thanks for having us here. It's a privilege, and thank you so much for the first webinar in 2021.
Yes, we are so happy to have you join us. So let's get on to the presentation. I'll hand over the floor to you.
Thank you. So let me just... Okay, hi, everybody. Can you guys see me? Just give probably a thumbs up. Yeah, just want to make sure you can hear me. So very, very excited, and thank you, DGX, LHR, for inviting us. So today, the topic that we are very excited to share is this thing called benefits, and why benefits matter and why employers should prioritize. So at the end of today's sharing, there's actually two key points I'd like you to take away, really for you to understand that benefits will really help you in attracting the employees that you want, and also critically retaining the kind of employees that you want in the company. So to get it started, right, Randstad did an employer brand research in 2019. So in it, they actually asked the prospective employees a particular question. Hey, what is the most important criteria for you to choose your employer? So surprise, surprise, right? More than 50% of them actually chose attractive salary and benefits as one of their most important criteria. I mean, it makes sense. You're working, you want to be fully compensated for your work and effort. So more than 50% actually chose attractive salary and benefits. But that being aside, right, I really want to get you guys focused on the next 4 points. The other 4 key criteria for them to choose actually healthy work-life balance, meaning your professional and personal life is balanced. Strong management, a company that has good mission and visionary founders. Ideally also a good career progression, something for them to really have momentum towards their professional lives. And also a pleasant work atmosphere. Probably a work atmosphere that devoid of politics, that they can enjoy people they're working with. So if you really take a look at it, right, actually only point 1 is monetary. The other 4 points, your healthy work-life balance, strong management, good career progression, and pleasant work atmosphere, is really from a non-monetary basis. So what this actually tells us is this, right? For us employers, a lot of times, we actually think that for me to attract or retain employees is really from a monetary angle. Actually, this research have shown that you not only need to provide a good monetary basis, you also need to provide a non-monetary basis in order to attract and retain them. So while it's good for us to really understand what employees want, right, it's also quite important for employers to delve deeper, to really understand what each particular generation of the employees want. Because at the end of the day, you've got to understand the demographics of your existing employees. Not all of them are the same. So what this research have done is they divided the research studies into 4 different populations, which is your Gen Z, Millennials, Gen X, and your baby boomers. So for if you look at the left of your screen, which is your Gen Z and your Millennials, right? Basically, they group between 18 to 34, which they consider the younger ones. One of the key components that the younger Millennials actually are looking at is actually, if you take a look, is career progression opportunities. And why is this important? You're probably at the start of your career, start of your professional career. Ideally, you want to join a company that affords you a myriad of opportunities that allows you to grow along with the company. So it's quite critical that for companies that has a greater population of employees in this range to provide career opportunities for them. Or else, if you were to take a look on the right side of the screen, right, basically your Gen X and baby boomers, which is basically between 35 to 64, most of them, or a substantial amount of them, actually are looking for companies which has good financial health. Again, understandable. You're probably in the middle part of your career or towards the last part of your professional life, right? Ideally, you exist in a company, or you contribute to a company that has good financial health that would allow you to enjoy the rest of your professional career in peace. Also, if you see the baby boomer generation, they want a strong management that kind of ensure that the company still can grow, and making sure that ideally that their retirement is not in jeopardy. But if you really see properly, right, attractive salary and benefits is the common theme for the different generations. So this brings us back to slide one, the previous slide, that having an attractive compensation benefits would help you to attract talents across the different generations. So we've talked about attracting talents. How about retaining talents? What is the number one key criteria that really incentivizes company to really making sure that they have the policies in place to retain their talents? So the number one key criteria for you to look at is really your cost. You've got to understand that when your employee turns over or when your employee resigns, right, the cost of replacing the employee is actually not low, So what are the kind of expenses that entails when an employee turns over? Point number one is you really got to spend on hiring expenses. And what do we mean by that? You are probably going to place ads, whether in job platforms, or you're going to place ads in, say, the newspapers, or for somebody who's like really want to get the headcount as fast as possible, you're probably going to hire a headhunter. And all these entails expenses. That's only during the pre-hiring. How about once you successfully located the person, you've onboarded the person to the company, you've got to spend time and effort to train and develop the person as well. The person is probably going to be, whether it's your product, your USP of your solution in the market, or you also got to spend time and effort to let the person, to onboard the person, to understand the existing culture, the existing process in the company. You're going to spend time and effort in that. Last but not least, you've got to understand there's also productivity loss during transition phase. When the person is no longer there, you as the employer or you as the manager probably got to step in to maintain the base. Or you're probably going to ask other colleagues to step into the role. As a result, productivity is going to be lost during transition. Research have shown that actually, right, when somebody leaves, it costs between 20% to 500% of the leaving employee's annual salary. Just to put in the context, right? Just to show what's in Malaysia. So let's say, what's the average, like a fresh grad salary in Malaysia? I'll just take it at 2,500, right? So 2,500 times 12, it's going to cost about 30,000 Malaysian ringgit on an annual basis for the pay. Losing 20% is actually 6,000 ringgit. That's the cost to the employer or to the company when somebody leaves. That's quite sizable, but that's from a dollar basis. Now let's think of it from a time basis, right? 1 year you're working, assume you're productive for 1 year, 12 months, right? If you're to lose about 20% of your productive period, you're actually going to lose about 2.4 months. Now, what is 2.4 months? Let's just take it at 2.5 months. If you lose an employee, you're actually going to lose 2.5 months of productivity. That is quite sizable. Of course, I want to explain why it's 20% to 500%. 20% would ideally be your starting executive pay. That's your, let's say your junior executive, your admin. 20% would be the baseline. And why does it rise to 500%? It gets really even more expensive. Let's say when your CEO leaves or your senior management leaves, and that really explains the really wide gap. So ideally, you want to make sure that you have policies in place to make sure that your employee turnover rate is as minimal as possible. So what's less quantifiable but also important is this: when an employee, first, it affects your employee morale. Like, people are going to ask, why is this guy leaving? Is there something wrong? Is he being marginalized, etc., etc.? And it really affects the morale of it. And when it affects the morale, productivity drops. When productivity drops, obviously it's going to overwork existing employees. And last but not least is obviously when somebody leaves, right? The knowledge, the experience, the time and effort that you've spent to develop that person is also lost. So this is why making sure that key employees stay, your employee turnover is as small as possible, is critical to maintaining the success of any company. Of course, employees leaving is an inevitable state, right? I mean, every employee, like it's bound to happen sooner or later. So a lot of customers actually ask us, hey, especially me and my colleagues, right? Hey, how do you know that you're actually performing well? How do I know that what actually is the kind of benchmark for me to gauge that I actually have a good retention rate? So next, what I'd like to share with you is this thing, right? For you to really understand whether you're performing with the national benchmark is actually this formula. We call it the employee retention formula for you to gauge if you're really performing to benchmark standards. How do we calculate the employee retention formula? It's really as simple as this. You're going to calculate the amount of employees who stayed over the entire period divided by the amount of employees at the start of the period to calculate the retention rate. So this is what I'd like you to do with me. So for example, let's say we are in 2021. Okay, let's say in 2020, right? Your company starts with 50 people. So you're going to have 50 people. At the end of 2020, the same amount of 50 people, 10 left, right? So you're left with 40 of the same people. So what's going to happen is you're going to do this. You're going to do 40 divided by what 2020 started with, which is 50. It's actually about 0.8. Of course, for you to get the percentage, it's about 80% employee. So basically, 80% of employees retain. So the retention rate is actually about 80%. So what is good and what is bad? This number varies across countries, varies across industries. It is vital for you to research your own particular industry, your own particular niche. But on average, right? People consider anything north of 80%, basically 81% and above, good. And anything below 70% is considered not that good. So of course, if you find that your retention rate is lower than 70%, it's probably a good time, especially now, for you to do an audit of your existing policies, if you've got existing culture, existing processes that you have in the company, for you to really understand why are employees leaving. After all, you expended so much time and effort to onboard them, to develop them. So it's quite key for you to really understand, and it may help you in really improving your retention rate. So obviously we've seen what employees want and what employers can provide. Now the golden question is this, right? Actually, let's for the attendees that's attending this webinar, I really like to open the floor. Hey, if you had the choice, or if your HR has the ability to provide, right, what are the kind of benefits that you want that really shows that you are taken care of, by your employer? So maybe can I just take about a minute for the attendees to really answer what are the kind of benefits that you guys are looking for in the companies that you like to join?
Yep. So yeah, just put in the live chat what kind of benefits you hope or you want your employers to, perhaps give you. It could be flexible working hours. It could be anything at all. So feel free to interact with us in the live chat. Okay, we'll give it about 20 seconds.
So Isa, I can't really see the chat. Maybe you'll just let me know what was the answer, and I'll just interact along accordingly.
Okay, so there's one from Vang Fun Lo that says medical benefits and flexi working hours. What do you think about that one? Yeah. And then we also have another one from Jo Fan Pang, who wants free snacks as a benefit at the company, which is very awesome. I want free snacks too. Yeah. Okay, wow. Comments are coming in. Another one from Peggy Ang. Profit. Okay, can I choose? Okay, can choose your profit sharing. And Siti Sarah says if they can choose whether or not they want to work from home or the office, yeah, that would be a great benefit as well, considering how the situation is right now with COVID. Z Ken Ong says incentives in aspects such as health, transport, and meals. dental and optical benefits. Wow. Yeah, so these are some of the comments that we are getting. Yeah, salary and medical benefit, and encouragement, which is always appreciating effort from the employees. It's very good to know that that's considered a benefit. Cool. All right, Hadi, over to you.
Nice. Well, you see, there's a lot of benefits. What you realize is this, right? You see, there's different needs and wants of everybody, and really, right? Sometimes, according to a survey, this is actually the result of what are the kind of benefits that employees want. So obviously, the thicker and the more bolder the word is, that's really what's the answer from the field. So a lot of them actually want salary, medical leave, hospitalization leave, maternity leave, optical, flexible work, dental, paternity, travel, flexi benefits. Yeah. So there's, obviously there's a lot of benefits that the employees want. So sometimes, being the HR or being the employer, you also scratch head, right? Like there's so much to choose from. What should I provide? So obviously, we also need to leverage on existing studies to really understand what do employees want? Actually, what are the ones that's being provided to employers? So Tech in Asia, right? I'm sure many of you have heard of Tech in Asia. They actually did a HR in Tech 2020 survey. So in the survey, they basically asked, right, what does employees want? And they go and figure out, are the employers actually providing that? So maybe I'm just going to use my pen. And so just to make it simple, so what this slide is actually saying is the employees' ratings of importance for that particular benefit versus what employers actually provide. To put it simply, right, this red dot is actually what employees want and is graded from 0 to 5 based on this scale on the right. What employers are providing is actually this blue dot and is graded on this scale on the percentage, basically the percentage of employers providing that particular benefit. So there's 3 gaps that I want to take you guys upon, right? So the first gap is obviously this, right, which is this particular one, good boss. See, everybody wants a good boss. I guess it's the old saying, nobody leaves a bad company, but people leave bad bosses. So this is a key particular area where I like to implore the attendees to really absorb. The second key gap is actually this, right? This particular, which is training and development. Let me just go. See, actually, more than 55% of survey respondents actually wants training and development to be part of their whole benefits package. But actually less than half, maybe about 46% is only providing it. So this is a gap, and this is something that I like for employers out there to really take note. What's surprising to me was actually this, right? This particular box. So actually, close to 50% of employers are actually providing healthcare insurance for their employees. Actually, in an area of importance, in the scale of importance for employees, it's actually not that important. I'm actually surprised, but maybe the survey respondents maybe from a younger population. Healthcare insurance is probably not important because they're still young. They think their bodies is still made of steel. But as you get older, you realize how important healthcare and insurance is actually for your total well-being. But the key point that I like to bring to you guys across for this particular slide is this, right? Just focus. What actually do employees really want? See, just look at the top 5 dots here. It's actually work-life balance, training and development, good culture, good team members, and good bosses. What does this tell us? This tells us that to motivate, to attract, or to retain employees, it's not monetary that's important. In fact, non-monetary benefits is as important or even more important than monetary benefits. So this is what we really gather out of the survey by Tech in Asia. Now, to put it in context, right, what are monetary and non-monetary benefits? The option is available for employers, for HR to provide for their employees. So from a monetary standpoint, right, of course, there's training and development, there's bonuses, or you probably can give healthcare insurance for employees. We can also give them stock options or maybe above average compensation. From a non-monetary angle, the types of options you have is maybe like setting a good culture in the company, provide training and development journeys, giving them a work-life balance, and also maybe like I think one of the gentlemen said just now, gentleman or lady, flexible work schedules. But one key thing is very important, right? You take a look. There's only two things that appears here. It's training and development. So what do we mean by monetary or non-monetary training and development? The kind of example for monetary training development benefits would be like you allocate a budget for your employee to attend courses elsewhere, maybe from online courses such as Udemy, Teachable, or maybe from like your business workforce, workforce agency, basically to upskill yourself. Whereas from a non-monetary standpoint, right, you could provide benefits such as maybe job shadowing. They can job shadow other colleagues in different departments for them to get out of their comfort zone, expand their knowledge, and understand the various different departments that exist in the company so that they're able to expand their skill. Or maybe you could provide like additional benefits such as maybe like mentoring them to help to grow them. At the end of the day, we're in the age of COVID, right? And we're still looking for. I mean, we're vaccine. There's this whole vaccination effort that's happening. But at the end of the day, we're still quite far away from a totally safe state. Businesses are being disrupted. You need to be innovative. So the only way for you to have continued success is obviously always to upskill yourself. At the end of the day, only when you upskill yourself, you become more productive. And of course, when you become more productive, right, the entire company gets to be more successful. So I've touched upon what employees want, what are the kind of benefits that employer want. We're actually missing one key piece. And this key piece is actually the HR department. We really also got to understand what are the HR department thinking in the aspect of benefits, and what are they actually focusing on. So after all, right, you've got to understand the HR department is really the superhuman function within the company. Many different layers, many different divisions. They are really the glue, and they really understand the nuts and bolts, the happenings of the company. So understanding them would help us to really figure out better what should be our benefit strategy in attracting and retaining talents. So there's three trends that BPO kind of highlighted in the employee benefit survey. And one thing is really key is this, right? HR is still putting a lot of emphasis on medical benefits provision and digitalization. In fact, more and more of them are actually providing employees with online access to benefits. And ideally, this via the mobile. Why is this via the mobile? Because you got to understand that what is the only tool that you don't get out of your house with? It's your phone, right? You can basically do everything on your phone. Even if you get out of your house without your wallet, it's fine. You can pay through your phone. So when you're able to provide the convenience for employees to access their benefits through their mobile devices, this helps to make the employees well taken care of, and more HRs are actually providing such support to the employees. Second thing that they're actually focusing on is really reviewing the medical claim amount or even changing vendors. Why is this so, right? In the next slide, I'll show you a startling figure. But when I first saw the result, I was actually quite startled as well. But I'll take it. So essentially, I guess the reason why this number is high is also because of that figure. The third key point is HRs in Malaysia are also increasingly trying to search for preferred panel of medical providers to help attend for their employees. Why is this so? 2 points. One is definitely medical inflation. Costs are getting higher. And second, in this day and age, you need to make sure that your employees are taken care of. So HRs are increasingly trying to find trusted provider, trusted panel to make sure that the quality of care for their employees gets maintained. It's either maintained or get higher, and ideally cost gets maintained or lower. So a lot of them are increasingly finding preferred panel of medical services to work with them. So what's the number that I like to bring across is this. Actually, Malaysia is experiencing the second highest medical inflation rate in APAC. Even if you take Southeast Asia alone, it's also the second highest. Actually, Malaysia only loses out to this particular friendly neighbor called Vietnam, 14.5%. Malaysia actually stands at 13.6% in 2019. So, like if you take Singapore as example, Singapore is at 10.9, and Singapore is quite possibly one of the most expensive in the countries in the world. That's 2019, right? If you take a look at the projected 2020, Malaysia is going to stay the same, So this is quite a significant figure, and that's that's really one of the reasons why you find a lot of Malaysian HRs are starting to review the medical claim and ideally change vendors that's able to help them manage costs, or for the same cost that they're paying, get access to better benefits out there. So this is it. That's trend number one. How about trend number two? So the HRs was actually asked, right? Hey, what's the top priority for your company's benefits and administration operations? So one thing's for sure, right? Nowadays, all of us, we leverage on technology to assist us in our everyday part of our life, from your Google Calendar to your Google Mail to your chats to your video calls. You're relying on technology, and your HR colleagues are the same. They're ideally leveraging a lot of technology to ideally automate a lot of their benefits administration processes. So at the end of the day, they understand that if as much processes as possible can be automated, they can be more productive. They can focus their efforts on other parts of the business. Like for example, point two, they can start formal documentation of their operational policies and procedures. Now with COVID upon us, companies are still working from home. There's still MCO in Malaysia. There's lesser physical interaction between the employees. There may be miscommunications. So HRs are increasingly putting formal documentation in place so that the employees are kept in line. The employees are still aligned towards the company's goals, and at the end of the day, move in one process, one efficient machine to move towards the company's goals. The third key point where HR is also focusing their efforts on is really integrating benefits administration with other HR systems. What do I mean by that? You see, a lot of things in life, there's many platforms that's helping us out there, but the platforms are quite siloed. So for example, you got, like from a HR benefits standpoint, you're going to find the best medical benefits administrative platform, or you're going to find from a HR operation perspective, you're going to find a HR information systems that serves you the best. Or from a accounting standpoint, you're going to find a cloud accounting provider to help you for your keeping of your books. So these things exist in silos. Ideally, if this thing can be integrated together, the person that's managing the whole entire operation can be more efficient, can be more productive. And that's the reason why HRs are also finding the best in breed solutions and trying to make sure that you can integrate with the existing systems, existing functions, such that they're able to do their job more efficiently. Excuse me. How about, sorry, let me just drink real water. So what's the third trend that HR is on? So they're also asked by the survey, right? Hey, what extent are the following a top priority of your company's benefits and strategy? And this is really important. HRs are increasingly trying to review employees' needs and wants. And what do I mean by that, right? They're starting to understand that the demographic of employees that they have within the company is varied, is multi-generational. Putting a one-size-fits-all model simply doesn't work anymore. Ideally, they want to be able to cater to as much different needs and wants of the different generation, so that everybody feels that they're being taken care of. And as such, right? They're starting to review their budgets and trying to plan how much they're able to cater to everybody's needs and wants. Of course, they're not going to be able to cater to everybody's needs and wants. I mean, to make everybody happy, I guess the only thing you can do is sell ice cream, right? So ideally, they want to make sure that as much as possible, they want to cover a majority of the population. And of course, when you do that, right, you still need to weigh the benefits against the cost. Ideally, everybody wants a positive return on investment, HRs included as well. Last but not least, a very important point is this, right? As HRs are reviewing their policies, trying to make sure that the structure they have in place is the best in class, best in breed, they also need to understand, is the policy working well or not? So a lot of them are looking for insights and trying to benchmark themselves against either their peers or against the national average. The only way for you to be able to do this is really to leverage on platforms. Because at the end of the day, right, doing this manually is quite impossible, especially, let's say, it may be possible if your employer says it's only like 20, 30, but as your business gets more successful, as your employee base gets larger, your whole solution is not always to hire people. Your whole solution is always to try to make sure everyone is productive. And the only way to make everyone more productive is to leverage on automation, to leverage on technology to help you in your daily work. So in fact, right, from the survey itself, the HR was asked, hey, actually, what are the functions that should be done online? Actually, what? So just to put in the context, I'm just going to draw it. There was like a unanimous, to understand this slide correctly, right? There's this 4 unanimous function that HR has agreed that should be done online as much as possible. So the 4 functions is actually expense claims and reimbursement automated, payroll automated, leave requests automated, and medical benefits automated. If this can be done online, they don't need to hire another person. Everything, all the employees need to do is very self-service, and at the end of the day, it's just done automatically. So it's because of this trend, it's because of this nature, you realize that there's a lot of companies out there, there's a lot of platforms out there, especially right during this difficult period, during this troubling period. Increasingly, more and more platforms are actually providing this for free, or providing this as on a substantiated, lower price angle to try to help as many companies as possible, and that's including Mednefits as well. So for those of you, right, who are still doing things manually, who's looking to, who haven't automated your processes, this may be a good time for you to think, to strategize, and to see how you can, plan towards the next decade of growth for you or for your business. So I've come to the last part of my sharing today. I hope today's sharing are able to help you to justify the strengthening of your benefits approach, right? You're able to understand what kind of benefits that you can provide, or you can position yourself out there in the market that allows you to not only helps you to attract the kind of talents that you want for your valued business, or the kind of benefits that you want that will help you to retain your existing treasures, your employees better in the company. Second point I like to hope that you can take away from this is please help understand that non-monetary benefits are just as important, or as we circle here, if not more important than monetary benefits. And this really applies to the smaller companies out there. See, a lot of times small companies are dealing with smaller budgets. They don't have access to bigger budgets. Please understand that providing a non-monetary benefits approach would also help you to attract the kind of talents that you want in the company. Of course, as the company gets bigger, revenue gets bigger, margins get bigger, profit gets bigger, you have access to extra budget. Please, when you have access to this budget, please ensure that please be willing to allocate a certain portion of the excess profits, maybe for the training and development for your employees. COVID period, I've mentioned upskilling is one of the most important things that you can do for your employees. It's something that they want. It's seen as a top benefit. If you're able to do that, I'm quite positive that your retention rate or even your attraction rate would be along the national average or even higher. Last but not least, your key takeaway is please make sure that ideally benefits administration can be made easier with automation technologies. See, at the end of the day, right, when your employees are taken care of, your customers are taken care of, and if your customers are taken care of, naturally your business will take care of itself. So please understand that when you take care of your employees, your customers are taken care of. At the end of the day, you have business success, and isn't that what we all want? So just to put into context a little bit of what Mednefits do here, we're an employee benefits platform, and Isa I've introduced earlier. We make it easier for businesses to take care of their employees. Essentially, we make affordable medical benefits plans for employers. And we do it by offering standalone outpatient benefits plans, or if you choose to customize the needs and wants of your employees, we also provide you from a platform basis. This not only allows you to help manage your costs better, but at the end of the day, right, if you're able to meet most of their needs and wants, they feel taken care of. And at the end of the day, this helps you to manage them better, and this allows you to retain them longer in the company. Of course, if you'd like to reach out to us, we are available in this following website, www.mednefits.com. Or if you'd like to also reach out directly to us, we are at hello@mednefits.com. More than happy to really understand your current requirements and see if we can value add to your existing policies and processes. with that, that marks the end of my sharing today. And I'll open the floor to Isa and the DGX team for any possible Q&As that you guys might have.
All right. Thank you so much, Hadi, for that presentation. There are a lot of great key takeaways and a lot of advice that small companies and even bigger companies can take and see what they can do and improve their benefit scheme in their company. So now let's move on to the Q&A session. Feel free to post any questions that you have in the live chat. And while you guys are writing your questions and we prepare for the session, I'll start by asking my question first that ran through my mind during your presentation, Hadi. Is it mandatory to provide healthcare benefits for employees in Malaysia? What do you think?
Wow. Okay. So we have operations in Malaysia. We actually did a check on in the MOM website. We really can't find anywhere that shows that it's mandatory for companies to provide coverage for their employees. But as we've talked to more and more customers, we do realize that a lot of them actually has benefits as part of their compensation and benefit strategy. And why? It's really to attract and retain talent. They understand that salary itself does not give you the talents. I mean, it gives you talents, but at the end of the day, you want to cast your net wider. So if you have a more comprehensive compensation and benefit strategy, it really affords you, it really gives you the kind of talent that you need to drive your business further. So we think that's one of the key strategies on what these companies are actually doing in Malaysia.
Ah, all right. So are there any alternatives for employee healthcare other than insurance that probably Malaysian companies can look into?
Yeah, you see, times have changed, right? Traditionally, companies tend to buy insurance to provide coverage for their employees. And why is this so? Because what the HR is doing is, or what the company is doing is actually just pay the insurance company and then the insurance company take care. So it's a full outsourcing of that requirement. I wouldn't say what's wrong, but what's not right about this strategy is this. When you buy an insurance plan, right, it's a one-size-fits-all model. Let's say, for example, I buy a GP coverage for my employees. You see, it's one size. Okay, everybody have GP coverage, unlimited. But what's not right about this is actually this, right? You see, as I've shared, different generation have different needs and wants. For the elder generation, maybe GP is important because maybe your body is not as fit. Maybe you fall sick more often. But to the younger generation, right, they don't visit GPs anymore. So you buy for them, but they don't use. Like, what's the point? So we are actually advocating a flexible benefits approach. You allocate different wallets to different people according to the policies of the company. You have a certain budget. If you want to go GP, please go GP. If the younger one, you want to go gym, you want to go wellness, please go. So at the end of the day, it fits to the needs and one of the different demographics, and it really makes them feel that they're taken care of, they're valued.
All right, that's great. Okay, now let's take some questions from the audience. Can we have the first question on the screen? Okay, Idris A asks, I heard of a company in the US that provides leave for mental health. Would this be possible in Malaysia?
Of course, anything is possible, right? This is really how I would say how progressive the company, first the company before the country, right? So this is really a company policy. Mental health is increasingly I would say it's gaining momentum in the Western countries, and anything in life, like the West is generally more progressive than the East side. We do see it coming in. So for example, let's just not take US. Let's take Singapore as an example, right? Like the Silicon Valley's, like your Facebook, your Googles who have HQs in Singapore, mental health is part of the employee benefits as well. So I won't say this is impossible for companies in Malaysia. Do hope that, when the momentum comes, Malaysian companies understand that this is a key priority and they provide it as part of their employee benefits for their employees in Malaysia. I hope, Idris.
Okay, thank you. All right, I hope that answers your question, Idris. Can we move on to the next question? Michelle Chin asks, if a company is pretty traditional and doesn't offer or believe in any monetary benefits, but employees feel that it's important, how can employees influence management to change?
Very nice, Michelle.
Yes.
This is a particular question that always crops up in I would say most of our webinars, right? Employees voice this out, but they don't see HRs or they don't see the bosses having a change of minds. So we actually have this what we call a benefits optimization framework. So if you'd like to have access to the framework, please reach out to us. Just say, I need a benefit on hello@mednefits.com, and we'll provide that framework to you. This framework is really helpful in helping HR employers really understanding the needs and wants of the employees using a tech approach. They understand that, and maybe they could consider it as part of their overall budget. Because a lot of times, as I've shared, times have changed. The old ways may not work for the newer generation. It would be a good time for you to do an audit of your overall employee benefit strategy and see if there's any positive changes that you can make, such that you can really take care of employees such as Michelle.
Awesome. Okay. Hope that helps and answers your question, Michelle. Now let's move on to the next one. Okay, another question from Idris. In an economic downturn, how do companies balance the need to reduce budgets with retaining employees / providing benefits? Oh, very good question.
Very, very good question, Idris. Wow, your question very sharp. Okay, so this is quite critical, right? And in any downturn, every company is always looking for, first survival, second profits, right? To have more profits, you really need to be more productive. This is a chicken and egg problem. So to make somebody more productive, of course, your skill needs to be up and they need to be taken care of. At the end of the day, it's just like your kids, right? You can whack as much as possible, but when they feel loved, they feel taken care of, they grow, you see. When they grow, they become more productive. So my opinion is companies ideally, right, has to focus on the long term. You can't think on the short term. You think on the long term. You provide the benefits, employees feel taken care of, then the positive cycle starts. When the positive cycle starts, ideally, hopefully, everybody gets more productive, company gets more business success. When you have more business success, you have more profits, then you can channel the profits back to your benefits budget. That would be my take in respect to this question.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much, Hadi, for that. All right, so another question from Natasha Chang. How can companies make sure that they maintain a good work-life balance for their employees?
Okay. To make sure that you maintain a good, right? What is good? It needs to be subjective. So the first key point is when you implement any policy, right? Ideally, you must be able to have insight in the policy, and you're able to benchmark it against, again, like I've shared, national average. What's a good work-life balance? The first key point that you need to understand is, I wouldn't say understand, is maybe you need to take note is when you provide more work-life balance, are employees getting more productive? For you to check are employees getting more productive, you need to leverage on platforms to see are they more productive, whether projects are in time, everything is completed on schedule, is my sales getting there? So leverage on platforms to really understand, to have insights on whether the metrics that you're tracking is moving positive as a whole. If it's moving positive as a whole and you realize, hey, actually working from home is productive, maybe you can continue that. So for example, in Mednefits, right, we practice a work from home policy, and we actually see that our projects are still delivered in time. Our revenue is actually also getting positive. With that being said, is working from home good? I would say yes. Since the answer is yes, I'll say, okay, well, let's maintain the work-life balance that we have at the moment. Maybe you save time on traveling. You can put that into your professional work.
Yeah.
It's all about getting that positive effect started.
And it's a win-win situation when that happens, which is very good for both the employers and also the employees. That's great.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on to the next question. Let's see. Alicia Leong. Hi there. How would you recommend encouraging employees to learn new skills or adopt new processes?
Okay. I would say my answer to this is look at the successful people, right? One of my favorite human being on earth is actually this gentleman called Charlie Munger. Basically, Warren Buffett's business partner. He always says that you always need to stay curious. Okay, I don't know how you can motivate your employees to stay curious, but I guess everybody follows somebody, right? If the employer or your boss is curious, naturally your employee will be curious as well. So always maintain that sense of curiosity, maintain that sense of development, maintain that sense of always trying to understand the world. I think your employees will follow along. I mean, you can tell your employee, hey, I think you should go learn a new skill because you're not unproductive. I mean, the guy is going to see you that that you are unproductive as well, there's no chance of the employee upskilling or being curious as well. So it all starts with the leader. The leader is important, and the culture, the company has to kickstart that whole curiosity mindset to encourage employees to learn new skills.
Yeah, lead by example and being the change that you want, and then hopefully your employees would follow. That's great advice. Yeah.
That's a nice sentence.
Yes. Okay. Moving on to the next question. Raihana Hisham asks, how do you guys keep the team's morale up during this MCO period?
Wow. Very, very tough question. I actually learned this new word from one of my friends. It's called exhaustipated. It's like this whole MCO is making everybody exhausted, and it's like it seems never ending. So the key to this is, first, I really have good teammates and good colleagues, especially in the Malaysian office. Good managers, good culture. This one, so you see, it's all people based, right? You really need to take care of your people. Again, the concept is just like, when you have kids, you can't smack them so often, right? They need to feel love. They need to, the culture, the habits, the character is quite important. So keeping the team morale up is all about keeping the company culture there and ensuring that you have the good systems, good people, good processes in place. As such, everything ideally should work together, and hopefully team morale is up. You're still striving, and you're still on track for whatever goals that you've set at the beginning of the year.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Rehana, for that question. Let's move on to the next one from CS Yap. If a company is pretty traditional, I think we've asked this question just now. Yeah, it's a repeated question. Can we choose a different one? Okay, this one comes from Z Ken Ong. Should part-timers be given most benefits that full-timers enjoy, such as paid leave, contribution to EPF, SOCSO, and bonus?
Wow. Hey, Chicken, I'm not sure I'm on the scale of the Malaysian manpower minister. This is I would say, different perspectives have different answers to these questions. But a lot of times, actually, in most countries, part-timers do not have access to EPF or the country equivalent of EPF and SOCSO, actually. So because generally part-timers, you're just there for a part-time solution. So companies pay accordingly to what you should be paid for the hour that you work, or for the days that you work in the company. Of course, you may not be granted EPF or SOCSO, but at the end of the day, I believe that companies can put that excess budget into your, let's say, your hourly rate. So for example, let's say you have $5 and you say you're not provided EPF or SOCSO, but I'm going to contribute a significant contribution to your employees, or to your company's operations, or to your company's bottom line. This is my fair amount. I think it's you could ask that, and if you're a valuable component, I don't think any company would reject you.
All right. Okay, cool. Let's go move on to the next question from Zakia Hamidi. What if the company is a startup company and the financial is not even stable yet? What are the basic benefits that a company can offer? Yeah, I think this is like the bare minimum.
Right. Zakia, taking it from us, right? We were an upstart. We were like I would say a 3-man team for the first maybe 6 months of our journey, right? As I've shared, right, a lot of times when we want to provide benefits, we start to think, from a monetary standpoint, okay, I need to give high pay, high benefits, a high package, high stock options. What Tech in Asia survey has taught us is that actually employees are open to non-monetary benefits as well. So for example, good culture. What's your culture? Are you transparent? Are you innovative? Are you open? Are you open to mistakes? That's something that, especially the younger generation want. Second would be, like flexible work schedule. Like if the guy is still productive, the guy can, produce results even when they're working from home. It may be a possible benefit that you could provide for that particular employee. So it's not always about the financial piece. It's really about you can put the non-monetary benefits as part of a strategy to attract talents as well. There's this saying in the West that I think culture eats strategy for breakfast, right? So at the end of the day, your employee culture is the most important thing, especially when you're starting up, because That's the base layer. That's the infrastructure. If you can build that right, everything else will move along accordingly. So I hope you're the best. Maybe you are just starting a startup and you're facing this constraint. Non-monetary benefits. You can start off with that, and I wish you the best of success moving forward.
Okay, thanks for your question, Zakia. Now a question from Jofan Pang. Is it more cost-effective for companies to subscribe to a corporate insurance that covers their employees, or just a medical budget set aside for each employee to claim?
Okay, Jofan, very good question. There's two aspects to this, right? So when you say about corporate insurance, I've shared, you really need to take a look at the demographics of the employees in your companies, right? Insurance is a one-size-fits-all model. If your company, let's say the average age of a company is younger, right? Buying insurance plan really doesn't make sense. For example, if you ask them, hey, actually, do you go to the GPs? I haven't been to the GP for the past like 2 years, So like I practically don't utilize my GP budget at all. Buying insurance for me is a waste of the company's budget. So that's one thing. Then let me get to the medical budget set aside for each employee to claim. This is okay, but this is really dependent on your company size. You could do it for 5 or 10-man team. Of course, your business is going to be, I wish your business is going to be successful. As you get more successful, you got more problems to solve, right? Your employee count gets bigger. You're not going to be able to manage this manually basis. So you need a platform to do this. So the best from what we advocate is you should be in the middle. You're a hybrid of both insurance and setting aside medical budget. You are able to set aside a medical budget on a platform automated for the employee to use. So if you're able to do, let's say, for example, from an e-wallet standpoint, you're able to set aside automatically, that would be the utopia for you to get. So to answer this question, it's really subjective based on your employee size, based on your employee demographics, based on your existing budget. If you'd like to find out more, you can write to us. We'll be more than happy to help you out, figure out where we can value add to your existing policies and processes for your employee benefits.
All right. Okay. Hope that answers your question, Jofan. Okay. Justin35 Lee asks, is it okay if a company pauses all benefits for a few months due to the pandemic as a cost-cutting measure without getting employees' input?
Oh. Personally, I wouldn't subscribe to that because let's think about it, right? What is the most important piece of a company? It's really your employees. You could do this, right? But if your employees is not productive, if your employees aren't, the morale is low, what exactly is the point? At the end of the day, you're running a business, you're all after profit, you're all after solving people's problems. Solving people's problems starts internally. Your internal employees must be at the right frame of mind to solve the external problem, the problem that is solving in the market such that you get paid for, right? So ideally, of course, this again subjective, but as much as possible, you need to take care of employees during this difficult period. If you're able to take care of them, they will take care of the customers. If the customers are taken care of, your business is really taken care of. So this mindset ideally should be there to help you to tide over this crisis as much as possible, Justin.
All right. A great answer. Okay, we only have time for one last question. So one final question from the virtual floor. Another question from Ziken. Is it important for a single employee in a company to have a partner to reduce the boringness he or she has while working? Is this able to improve productivity?
Oh, Chicken, like what do you exactly mean by boring? Like are you the only employee in the company, or are you like just because you work from home, you're very bored and ideally you have people working together with you? I don't really get the context of this question. Like,
I think it's more of like, is a bigger team encouraged to increase productivity? Do you need more people to improve employee morale and give each other motivation, or rather would you keep like a smaller team? Do you think it's necessary?
Okay. So I would say the answer to this is what's the goal that you're trying to achieve, right? Because if you say working from home, you're less productive because you cannot interact with employees. Times have changed, you see, like now everybody is on their phone. Like with the phone, you have access to everything, like you don't know anything, go YouTube and search. you want to reach out to somebody, it's just a text away. Now, not even texting, you can even do video calls as well. We can even do webinar. So platforms and solutions have arisen, especially in this 5G era that we have right now. So for example, for us ourselves, we run 4 different teams in 4 different countries, right? We try as much as possible to leverage on platforms to still remain productive, whether we use Slack, whether we use Zoom. Platforms or solutions out there are available for us to utilize to maintain our productivity levels. So I mean, if you feel you're working from home and you're bored, just reach out. Maybe you go to your HR and maybe we should subscribe to a solution that allows us to work remotely but yet still maintain productivity. Plenty of solutions out there. I hope that with this you can improve your productivity, and hopefully you get better results. Chicken.
Okay, thank you so much, Hadi, for the Q&A session. There were a lot of valuable insights that a lot of us can use and take away. So that is all the time that we have for today. If you have any more burning questions that we weren't able to address during this webinar, please feel free to email us at hello@althr.my or reach out to the Mednefits team at hello@mednefits.com. Do remember to fill up your information in the link provided in the description box or within the live chat so that we can send you a HR Digitalization Starter Kit and also future webinar invitations. Just a quick shout out before we end. AltHR has a podcast now that is available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Search for the AltHR podcast and you'll find our webinars trimmed down into more digestible lengths so that you can listen to them when you're driving, eating, working, cooking, or cleaning. It's super cool, I know. Thank you very much again for staying with us until the end. We hope you enjoyed this webinar. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and see you soon. Bye.